Also the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us, بين الرجل وبين الشرك والكفر ترك الصلاة. The main distinguished part that made difference between you and disbeliever is the performance of the prayer. So if you did not perform the prayer, you are not Muslim. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you did not perform the prayer, you had commit an act of kufr or shirk. Or kama qala sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We can see that the salah had been given to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam not in a regular place or a regular time. What I mean by this, when you observe the Hajj, the fasting, the zakah, all this revelation came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam down from the heaven to the earth with the angel Jibreel alayhi salam. But when Allah made the salah obligation and obligatory, he communicated directly to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he gave it to him while he was in the journey of Isra and Mi'raj, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for a special journey during the night from Mecca to Jerusalem, and after this he ascended all the way to the heaven. Now when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in the presence of Almighty Allah, Allah had presented him with the salah. So you can see the occasion and the time and the place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the salah. So the salah is mi'raj. When you get into salah, this is a form of lifting you, to elevate you, so you can be in the highest of all places. Now you have this communication, you have this special talk between you and the Almighty Allah. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us, قَسَمْتُ الصَّلَاةَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَبْدِي. I divide the prayer between me and my slaves in two parts. So فإذا قال العبد الحمد لله رب العالمين قال الله تبارك وتعالى حمدني عبدي. So when the servant of Allah say and utter Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Allah Almighty will say, my slave had praised me. So it's a form of communication, is discussion, is the best time you can be when you are in salah. The Prophet ﷺ used to be concerned about the prayer. He used to love the prayer more than anything in this life. And when something troubled him, right away he goes to salah. Why? Because he will see the solution of such a problem by getting into the salah, by devoting himself and surrendering himself physically and mentally and spiritually to Almighty Allah. Now he will come out of the salah after he finishes the salah with a better atmosphere, with a better person, better heart, better understanding. The importance of the salah, my brothers and sisters, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling us that إن أول ما يحاسب به العبد المسلم يوم القيامة الصلاة. The first item in your agenda in the day of judgment that Allah will ask you and question you about it is the salah. Subhanallah, glory be to Allah. It shows you how important is the salah. That when you come before Allah in the day of judgment, the first thing that Allah will ask you from your deed is your salah. How much more we need to talk about this to show the importance of salah in Islam. Therefore, a Muslim, male and female, young and old, all professionals, all background, no exemption, everybody have to get to know the importance of the salah and the necessity of salah prayer in your life. Indeed, when the salah disappear and be neglected out of the earth, this is the end of Islam. And the Prophet ﷺ give example of Islam like a chain, one after the other. And the people will hold to this chain like links, one holding to the other. So when one link get lost, now this chain gets shorter, shorter, shorter. And the first link of Islam will be lost and disappear, judging by the Islamic law. And this is the first thing the Muslims going to neglect out of their deen. And the last link on this chain will be what? Neglecting the salah. So with the neglection of the salah and the disappearance of the salah, now that means Islam is gone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protection. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, that as-salah is amud al-Islam, like the backbones. The backbones. Can you imagine a human being without a backbone? Can you imagine a tent without the main metal pillar? It could not stand. So if no salah in your life, no Islam. And this is the reason you found that is no exemption from the prayer. No exemption. Every Muslim who reaches the age of puberty in a sound mind, he or she have to pray. Doesn't matter if you're black, if you're white, if you're Arab, if you're American, if you're poor, if you're rich, if you're home, if you're traveling, wherever you are, in the peace and in the war. Even during the time of the war, you are not exempt from performing the salah. Can you imagine this? Why? Because this is the links between you and Allah. How you can? Oh brother, I'm busy, or I have something very important. The salah will help you about what you're doing. So there is nothing important in your life more than this Islam. This is what Allah had created you for. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Indeed, I had created jinn and mankind only for the sole purpose of worshiping me. And if you are not making salah, what else are you going to be doing? So no exemption. If you are poor, you still have to pray. You're rich, you have to pray. You're home, you have to pray. You're going out of town, you still have to pray. You are home, you make prayer. You are in a war with the enemy, you still make prayer. Because this will firm your heart, will firm your feet, will strengthen you, so you can fight and you continue in your battle with the enemies. No exception. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين. That maintain and establish your prayers, and especially be mindful about the middle prayer, and stand up in prayer quiet for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And after this Allah said, فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ فَرِجَالًا أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. But if there is a situation of fear, so now pray accordingly, on the horse, on the tank, on the aeroplane, or walking in the ground. But don't neglect the prayer. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ فَرِجَالًا أَوْ رُكْبَانًا. Doesn't matter what is for your condition. You can be on the horse, fighting with the sword, and still you have to perform your prayer. وَإِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. Is a fixed time, is obligation on who? On the believers. So if you are a believer, you have to do it. You have no choice. How you can claim faith in Islam and you don't pray or perform your prayer? But in actuality, my brothers and sisters, we are not talking about salah, performing salah, like somebody doing exercise, moving, going up and down. We talking about the salah physically and spiritually. We're talking about your mind, your heart, as well as your body. We are not talking about the body going up and down. We're talking about the body going up and down while the tongue is reciting and remembering Allah, while the mind and the heart focusing on Allah and the greatness of Allah, and they try to gain strength from Almighty Allah for carrying our obligation in this life. So there is an important element here in the salah, besides the physical elements which you call al-khushu'.